everybody? Welcome here as we begin the start of a brand new season, Season 3 here of the NNSCRA Hersheys Cup Series. We are getting ready to start the Daytona race weekend. We've got a lot on tap for you here this week during Speed Weeks, capping it off with the third annual running of the Great American Race. But tonight, it's the Sprint Unlimited, a 20-lap dash where there's no points on the line, simply purse, bragging rights, and pride. Give these drivers a little bit of a taste of what they might be able to expect in the Great American Race as well. We have 21 drivers that qualified for the Sprint Unlimited, with having a pole last season. And also we've got the defending winner of this event. We've only run one other Sprint Unlimited since this series began. That was last year, and it was Joshua Sekuli who went to victory lane. He is in the starting lineup for tonight's race, as well as O'Neal Baldwin, who had a pole at Talladega Superspeedway last year. Starts on the pole here at Daytona alongside of James Richardson back in the number 11. Then a couple more familiar faces in the same places. John Zinedino still with the 83 from Fire Race Racing. Alongside of him, Retro Racing Enterprises' Kyle Matthews, the defending Daytona 500 winner, rolls off from fourth. Let's go down and get the command to fire him up.
Drivers, start your engine!
And as these cars roll off, you can see we've got a rather new-looking format for this season. And you will see the starting lineup on the left side of your screen. And then also, after you see the starting lineup, you will see the reason that every single one of these drivers are in this event tonight based on where they got their respective pole positions. Mentioned that the defending winner of this race, the only Sprint Unlimited winner at this point in the Hersheys Cup Series, is in the field. Let's show him to you now. Oh, just skipped him actually. There he is. Number 73 Ford, out of his own team now, WF9 Racing. Last season when he won the Sprint Unlimited, he was driving the number 47 Chevrolet for, at the time, William Brock Motorsports. Mentioned that there are a number of drivers back in familiar places, familiar teams, but you got a couple of drivers, actually quite a few drivers in this field, in entirely new teams, new looking rides. You've got, of course, Anthony McCurry and Sean Galligan over now with Seth Cole Baker Motorsports and Fords. Joshua Michaels in the 10, still with Rage Motorsports, but now in a Honda. You've got ride number swaps with the champion coming into this season, Chris Dodd. He's moving to the 88. Garrett Sidner rolling off from 5th, now moving to the 08. We've also got Tim Walsh moving from the 5 of Michael Norman Motorsports over to the 15, still with Michael Norman Motorsports. And you can see that car back there, that white car, rolling off on the high side in 10th place. That's Johnny Gardner for AS Racing, driving a special tribute scheme to Brian Clausen, and also a friend of, I believe it's his brother's, that he's running the tribute scheme here tonight for. He also, if he makes the Daytona 500, will be running that tribute scheme. But here we go, getting ready to turn them loose. Season 3 of the Hersheys Cup Series with the running of the second annual Sprint Unlimited is green. And as I mentioned, it will be 20 laps of racing. And there's no points on the line, so these drivers are going to be racing pretty hard here in this event. And maybe making some moves they might not normally make if points were on the line. As right now, O'Neal Baldwin trying to get out in front, but Richardson hanging tough on the high side, and he's got actually a little bit more drafting help, closer drafting help in the form of Kyle Matthews and Tim Walsh. He'll try and clear Baldwin going here into 3, but no, Baldwin is still there, and now Tim Walsh switches lanes. He'll go to the inside and take the 3rd position from Kyle Matthews. Here comes Tim Walsh, maybe thinking about making it 3 wide heading here to the stripe, as he will push O'Neal Baldwin to the lead. Inside line gets the advantage this time, and Baldwin will lead the first lap of the evening. Top 3 single file, and as soon as I say that, Kyle Matthews steps out of line to the inside of Tim Walsh. So right now it's Baldwin and Richardson, the top 2 out in front. Battle on for 3rd with Matthews and Walsh. Then you've got another battle going on for 5th between Levi McIntyre, Jessica Shelton, McIntyre getting some help from a fellow Ford and Cole Baker. And here comes Cole Baker looking 3 wide to the inside. And doesn't look like he's going to be able to make it work as the middle and high line actually got some good runs down the back straightaway. Garrett Sidner and John Cittadino were trying to make that work. And we got a battle on for the lead up front. James Richardson to the inside of O'Neal Baldwin. Now, which lane's going to work heading here into 1? Baldwin leads that lap by about half a car length. Richardson needs some friends down the inside line, and right now he's not getting them, as Baldwin will clear, at least for now, and keep the top position. Apparently, some drivers are expecting this thing to basically go clean and green to the end, staying up here in this lead pack, and I'm noticing some stragglers back there from like Charles Sanford on back. That's Sanford, Sekuli, Peachy London, Johnny Gardner, all running near the rear of the field right now, kind of in single file formation. Apparently they're planning on a wreck happening. I saw another driver, looked like he was quite a ways back. Oh, that's the Honda of Joshua Michaels, way back here, along with the Ford of Sean Galligan. Now keep in mind, Sean Galligan, this is the first time he's been in a Ford Fusion in his Hersheys Cup Series career. And Joshua Michaels, first time he's been in a Honda. So maybe these drivers just testing it out as far as seeing what it's like by itself. Maybe planning on a caution to catch back up, but keep in mind, these drivers are going to be having pole day qualifying in a couple of days, and they're going to be probably having to turn some laps all by their lonesomes. This could be an opportunity at some early testing for them too, but not quite sure I'd wave the white flag, easy for me to say, and surrender this win already. But I don't know, maybe they're doing like 2 or 3 different strategies at a time here. Maybe they're not only single car testing, but they're also banking on the fact that we could have a yellow flag. But right now, O'Neal Baldwin enjoying the view out in front. James Richardson has not left his bumper, but his only problem is when he steps out of line, nobody seems to go with him. And here comes Levi McIntyre now. He's going to go to the inside, and here's the battle for second place. Jessica Shelton there in 4th, Tim Walsh in 5th, and then you got Kyle Matthews there in 6th position. As you can see, Charles Sanford, Johnny Gardner, they're all still staying within the draft, so they're all still keeping in touch with the lead pack, which is what they need to do. They're going to have a shot at getting up there in the closing stages of this race. Also, I failed to mention that with this being 20 laps, the fuel window for these drivers here at Daytona is about 19 to 22 laps. So these drivers are going to be cutting it awfully close on fuel if they're going to try and stretch it the whole way on not coming to pit road. So we'll see what happens there. I guarantee you, if a caution comes out at any point during this 20-lap segment, they will all be hitting the pit road to make sure they're good to go on fuel to the checkered flag. Top 6 continue to remain single file. And now Levi McIntyre steps out. Back here we got a good battle on for 6th. James Qualls and Anthony McCurry on the bottom. Teammates from CJ Racing on the outside line. Garrett Sidner being pushed by the defending champion Chris Dodd. You've got Cole Baker right there in the 18, the 97 of Emmanuel Hartnett, and the 38 of Carson Scott, as they're all trying to jockey for position as up ahead. Levi McIntyre did step out of line, but had to tuck back in line, and they're still single file amongst the top 6, and the top 8 may end up getting single file here as McCurry will clear Qualls, move him into the 7th position. Qualls back to 8th, Baker in 9th, and Sidner in 10th, and they are all single file for the moment. Now there's a couple of cars stepping out here on the low side. Levi McIntyre to the inside of Richardson, Shelton to the inside of Walsh. McIntyre not able to make the move, but Shelton will be able to, and she's actually got some drafting help from Anthony McCurry on that inside line at the moment, as she's trying to take the 4th position from the 5-hour Energy Chevrolet. And there's McCurry helping her on the inside line. They will move by, take the 4th and more than likely 5th position. So Tim Walsh, just like that, will more than likely be dropping outside of the top 5 as Levi McIntyre trying again to get around James Richardson, but he just can't seem to do it. He gets good runs off the corner and heading into the corner, but he just cannot get to the left rear quarter panel. He needs somebody behind him to help continue that forward momentum into the middle of the corner, and especially off. McIntyre going to try again, tries to get to the left rear. This time he succeeds, but now he needs some drafting help, and McCurry, instead of going low with him, is now on the high side helping James Richardson. So McCurry going to help Richardson. He's going to push Richardson by McIntyre on the high line. Here comes James Qualls and Jessica Shelton also working the high line. And so Richardson moves into 2nd again. McCurry now takes the 3rd position away from McIntyre. and now the battle is on for 5th. Here comes Richardson. He got a nice run there into the middle of the corner, and he'll go to the inside on O'Neal Baldwin. Now the question is he going to have any drafting help? Next car that would help him is about 3 car lengths back. That's Emmanuel Hartnett on the inside line. And look at this, outside line freight train as McCrory moves to 2nd. McIntyre looking for 3rd, and McIntyre's looking for more as Jessica Shelton's pushing him on the high side. Here comes Hartnett trying to take the 5th position away. And Richardson has no friends on that inside line. He's dropping like a rock, already outside of the top 5. As McCrory now moves into 2nd, and now O'Neal Baldwin has a new challenger for his race lead. It was Richardson for the first half of this race. Now it is McCrory, Shelton, McIntyre, and a whole slew of others. Hartnett, Walsh, Scott. Richardson's still there. You got Chris Dodd and James Qualls in the mix as well. But as this thing has settled into a long green flag run, and we've run the first half of this Sprint Unlimited under green, some drivers have lost the draft as a result. John Cittadino is all by him lonesome in his Toyota Camry. You got a second group back here that's trying to produce some speed with Charles Sanford, last year's winner Joshua Sekuli, Kat Teller, and Pichu London. And then you jump way back here, and again, there's Sean Galligan by his lonesome and Joshua Michaels. Michaels is actually exiting 2. The field is entering 1. They're going to catch Joshua Michaels pretty soon. And here comes Levi McIntyre trying to make a move for the lead. Will anyone go with him on the inside line? Richardson looks like he's thinking about it, and he will step to the bottom. So now there is some help on the inside line. Can Levi McIntyre make it stick going into 3? Baldwin trying to guard against that inside line, and they are slowly catching up to Joshua Michaels, who I believe is up to speed, but he is slower than these drivers in the fact that he's all by himself. These drivers are all in a pack, and this could shuffle the field up pretty doggone good depending on where they catch up to him, and it's going to be right here in the turn 1 area. Look at this, Baldwin tried to make the move to the inside. McIntyre stuck his nose in there and forced Baldwin to have to give up the lead, so move McIntyre to the point. Baldwin back to 2nd. Shelton now moves to 3rd. Chris Dowden 4th as the whole outside line is going to get held up. And Anthony McCrory now moves into the top 5. Chris Dodd started this race from dead last, 21st position. And within about 12 laps, he's moved himself up now, taking the 4th position away from Anthony McCrory. And as soon as Levi McIntyre took the lead, O'Neal Baldwin to his inside takes it immediately right back. So Baldwin back out in front. And Levi McIntyre didn't even get to lead a lap right there. Baldwin has led all 13 laps here, or all 12 laps tonight, I should say, as we are now currently on to lap number 13. And it looks like the field didn't really spread out that whole much that with the Joshua Michaels machine. Michaels has been able to merge in with this group now. That didn't really split the field up. If anything, it really hurt Levi McIntyre in the fact that he got such a huge gap over everybody else. And now they'll catch Sean Galligan. And where's Baldwin going to go when he gets to the 44? He'll jump to the high side. McIntyre's going to look low and split 3 wide. Galligan's going to hold up that inside line. The outside line's the one that's going to prevail now here as Baldwin clears the 44. And they're going to split Sean Galligan, McIntyre to the inside, Shelton to the outside. And now this could be interesting because remember how easily Baldwin got around Levi McIntyre when McIntyre had a huge gap? Well, Baldwin's got a pretty sizable lead right now. That could allow Levi McIntyre, if he gets a good enough run here down the back straightaway, to reel in the 04 and put a move on him going into 3. He's got make the Anthony McCrory on his back bumper helping him, and here he comes. Big head of momentum heading into 3. Can he make it stick to the bottom? Yes, he does, but nobody again going with him. Chris Dodd's down there, but don't know if that's going to be enough for him to be able to get down there and clear O'Neal Baldwin. Baldwin's got McCrory, Shelton, and Scott all nose to tail pushing him on the outside line, and that's going to propel him back to the lead once again. McCrory moves into 2nd. Shelton trying to get clear on Levi McIntyre for 3rd. Not quite there yet. Inside line starting to get some help though. McIntyre, Chris Dodd, and Tim Walsh all down there trying to make something happen. That's Levi McIntyre trying to get that inside line moving. He's currently in the 3rd position, now moving back to 4th. Outside line gets a nice run down the back straightaway, but it is still all O'Neal Baldwin. And keep in mind, the question of can these drivers make it on fuel, still a big question mark. If they cannot make it on fuel, how long are they going to wait before they come to pit road? Are they going to be pitting with like 5 to go, or will they wait to pit with about maybe 2 to go, or even on the white flag lap? It's going to come down to strategy here of who wants it more, who's got the correct strategy, who's got enough to make it to the end. Keep in mind, there's no points on the line, just a big check at the end and bragging rights heading into the Daytona 500. So maybe you want to just risk it and run the tank dry, as Levi McIntyre's still determined not to give up. He's gotten around McCrory for second. Now sets his sights again on O'Neal Baldwin for the race lead. Failed to mention that when O'Neal Baldwin had his pole last year at Talladega, he followed it up with, I believe it was a top 5 run at Dega. So he knows how to get around these super speedways, as McCrory looks to the bottom on Levi McIntyre. Not really certain there's going to be much there for him to be able to make a move, although he did get to the left rear, now has to tuck back in line in the 3rd spot. Chris Dodd there in 4th. They're battling double wide from about 5th on back with Tim Walsh, Jessica Shelton, and you got James Richardson back up in this group. Remember, he was up there in the 2nd position at one point, got freight trained all the way back to about the 8th, 9th position. As next time around, there will be 3 laps to go. It's Chevy, Ford, Chevy, Chevy right now at the top 5, with Baldwin the leader. Battle on for second, Anthony McCrory to the inside, outside Levi McIntyre. Drafting help comes to the outside line in the form of Chris Dodd and Tim Walsh. So now McCrory loses second. He'll lose 3rd to Dodd, more than likely lose 4th to Walsh if that outside line continues to remain where they are, single file. And I'm looking here, and John Citadino has merged with this second group of cars with London and Sanford, Joshua Sakuli, the lap car of Joshua Michaels and Cat Tellier, so they will more than likely not be an issue for these leaders in the closing stages of this race. They're about a good half a racetrack ahead of them. Look at how far back McCrory fell. He's all the way back now to the 6th position after getting pinched down on that inside line. I think somebody might be coming to pit road. It's going to be a whole host of cars coming to pit road. Baldwin, McIntyre, Dodd, Walsh, Richardson, Carson Scott, Emmanuel Harnett, and James Qualls are all coming to pit road, along with Kyle Matthews and the lap car of Sean Galligan. Anthony McCrory was the first driver that did not come to pit road. He has stayed out, along with Johnny Gardner, Jessica Shelton, and Cole Baker. So 2 of the Seth Cole Baker Motorsports cars staying out, 1 of the AS Racing cars, and 1 of the Retro Racing Enterprises cars. Keep in mind, Gardner, Baker, and Shelton have been running closer to the rear of that lead pack for most of the race. Maybe they were able to stay in the draft enough, save enough fuel. It will be white flag this time. Are any of these leaders coming to pit road? Shelton's going to have to come to pit road. She gives up the 3rd position. White flag in the air. 1 more lap to go. It's McCrory. Then it's Gardner. And then it's Cole Baker. Can any of these 3 make it to the stripe without running out of fuel? McCrory, the Season 1 Hersheys Cup Series champion. Cole Baker, last year's Rookie of the Year. Johnny Gardner, running the tribute scheme for Brian Clausen and his brother's friend. One of these 3 is going to win. If Gardner's going to make a move, he's got to hope Cole Baker goes with him. But Baker, I'm not sure, and he's not going to help out his teammate. Through 3 and 4, Gardner not even close enough to make a charge at him. It's going to be Anthony McCrory by about a car length and a half off turn 4. He's going to hold them off, and the Season 1 Hersheys Cup Series champion will win the Season 3 Sprint Unlimited at Daytona. What a statement there for Anthony McCrory. Took him out of the Audi he raced for 2 seasons, was in the Final 4 last season, won the championship in Season 1, stick him in a Ford Fusion, and what does he do? Start off Season 3 with a trip to victory lane. What a great run there for the Dishonored Ford, and a 1-3 finish for Seth Cole Baker Motorsports here tonight, with Baker finishing in 3rd. So the session will be complete here with McCrory going to victory lane. Let's take a look at what the official results look like. 3 drivers were able to make it the full 20 laps on fuel, and I think Cole Baker could be out of fuel right now. They're out of 4, so he was just about 3/4 of a lap to the good. Looks like McCrory and Gardner, though, they're going to make it to pit road completely under their own power. So I don't know how much further they could have gone on their tank of fuel. But McCrory with the victory. Gardner in 2nd. Cole Baker gets 3rd. They were the 3 that were able to make it. the entire way on fuel. Jessica Shelton, she gave up the third position to come to pit road on the white flag lap as she manages a top 5 still in 4th, so only lost 1 spot due to that pit stop. And Chris Dodd started this race from 21st, and he'll finish in the 5th position. James Qualls was 6th, Emmanuel Hartnett in 7th. The car that dominated this race, O'Neal Baldwin, will finish the day out in 8th. Levi McIntyre ran 2nd for most of the evening. He'll finish 9th. And James Richardson completes top 10. Carson Scott, Tim Walsh, Kyle Matthews, and Garrett Cinder were the last cars to finish on the lead lap. And then it was John Sedino, Pichu London, Charles Sanford, Cat Tellier, last year's winner, Joshua Sekuli, Sean Galligan, and Joshua Michaels all finishing a lap down. So the good news, at least for the drivers from 15th on down, even though there's a -1 lap in their column, really doesn't count against them because it was a non-points race. All that was on the line was basically bragging rights and a big check. So that was at least a good thing for them, but in a couple of days, there will be stuff on the line, as the next thing we have coming up on the schedule for this week at Daytona, we've got pole day qualifying. That'll be coming up. It'll be the only time, actually, this season that you will see the 35 chartered cars qualifying. You will not see them after Daytona. You'll just see where they qualified once we go to race at Race 2 at Rockingham, UK, and on. After that, we will have knockout qualifying for the go or go home drivers, where we have, I believe it's a total of 44 drivers who will be battling for 7 available spots in this season's Great American Race Daytona 500 starting lineup. Then after that, we have our Can-Am duels that will determine from 3rd place on back through 35th in the starting lineup, as 36th through 42nd will belong to the go or go home drivers that qualified their way into the Daytona 500. And of course, the front row will be determined by pole day qualifying. After that, the Almond Joy Series makes its debut race here at Daytona, and then we cap it all off with the running of the 3rd annual Great American Race Daytona 500. Hope you'll tune in for everything that takes place here this week at Daytona International Speedway. Until pole day qualifying, I'm Seth Cole. Thank you for tuning in. Congratulations to Anthony McCurry on the win here tonight in the Sprint Unlimited, as Daytona race weekend continues on here on the NCAA Sports Channel. Offline racing at its best.